Hey there, USPSA people. Good morning. Well, it's morning for me. Much to discuss this morning as the board of directors situation it appears to be really quickly resolving itself. One more thing that has to get addressed is Bama Jim. That's the attorney that, I don't know who hired him, but I guess you'd call him general counsel for USPSA. This guy seems to be a bigger part of the problem than anybody really thought. Like, the more and more that people look at it. The thing that's at issue now is another unauthorized practice of law complaint filed against him, this time by John Burt, who's going to be a candidate for Area 2, by the way. He's a retired lawyer. I've met him once. He seems like a nice guy to me. He's pretty new to USPSA, but he seems to know what he's doing when it comes to law stuff, which I appreciate. So what I've got to go through with you this morning, this unauthorized practice of law complaint against Bama Jim, he's an Alabama lawyer, but it looks to a lot of people like he's doing something wrong when he's like working with a Delaware corporation, incorporated in Washington, or like doing business in Washington or whatever. But he's an Alabama lawyer and he's working with USPSA, and he appears to be working as general counsel. This doesn't offend me too terribly, by the way, but the lawyers I know, they seem really upset by it. They're like, no, this is not the right thing to do. The whole point of bar associations is it's like a guild. It's to, protect their business, stuff like that. So this is stuff lawyers take seriously. Anyway, there's been a complaint filed, another one, and a 51-page response from Bama Jim, as well as some other stuff we'll go through. I'm not going to go through, obviously, the whole 51-page response. Some of the background stuff in there, it's about like Bill Godbold and about me and about Derek at Practical Shooting Insights and other people. He takes shots at Pat Brown in there. It's very strange. It's very strange why he would send this. Because, what is to be decided is, hey, what is he doing, unauthorized practice of law or not? Like, I don't see how any of us are, like, what do we matter? It looks like an obfuscation tactic, obviously, like just talking about all this different nonsense. But it lets me know that he's kind of nervous. If he's filing a 51-page response to this, that's letting me know something. Anyway, I'm going to read from some of his response and some other stuff to look at here. And if you're not interested in the USPSA stuff, obviously this video it's not for you. All right, he says, several years ago, a former USPSA member who was once a world champion shooter, Ben Steger, was suspended by USPSA for actions that brought disrepute to the sport. Several other members, including Derek Lewis, were also suspended around the same period. All of these suspensions occurred before I became involved in USPSA. The suspended members, mainly Steger and Lewis, started a social media campaign against USPSA and have vowed to burn USPSA to the ground. These suspended members and their followers, who routinely criticize and disparage USPSA on social media, refer to themselves as howler monkeys. To date, the howler monkeys have published over 13,000 posts on social media critical of USPSA, its board of directors, supporters, and me. It means Bama Jim. For me to respond to this, I don't think I've ever vowed to burn USPSA to the ground. That's definitely not my intent. The leadership, what's left of it anyway, what's left of these people, them I want to burn to the ground. Not like on a personal level. I just want them off the board. Like, I don't really care about Jim getting in trouble for UPL. I just want him gone. Like, he's if you watch like a meeting with Bama Jim, like the board meeting, it looks like you'd think he's on the board or something. Like, who the F is this guy? I just want him to go F off, Jim. That's what I want. Anyway, I don't want to burn USPSA to the ground. I kind of like USPSA. It's just run by idiots. Anyway, another thing that's interesting is he says the social media campaign started. It's intimated that it started after I got booted and Derek got booted. No, I was booted for the social media campaign to change leadership. That's the whole point. I don't think I've ever attacked like USPSA itself. I just attack the leadership specifically, personally, because they suck. Anyway, The evidence shows that after the December 18th, 2023 USPSA Board of Directors meeting, where the board removed Director Scott Arnberg for disclosing confidential information that ended up on Derek Lewis's social media sites, the Howler Monkeys ramped up their social media smear campaign and it decided to go after the board and me, who they refer to as Bama Lawyer or Bama Jim, with full force. Yes, we're going after them with full force. That is true. I put that out there because this has been going on for so many years, like understanding strategy. We want to hold back. Like, I'm not out there like for years being like, email the board, blah, 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 for years and years. I never did that. I just did what I did, sat back, and then when the moment was right, as it clearly was, if you just think back a couple months, the moment was definitely right, then it was like, all right, everybody, full force, send your emails, do what you're going to do, because now is the time to strike. Anyway, apparently they thought I instigated Arnberg's removal because I was asked by the president of the board to attend the meeting and comment on the importance of maintaining confidentiality between board members. In the 10-day period after Arnberg's removal, Derek Lewis published at least 385 disparaging social media posts, and Ben Steger published 50 posts and a number of YouTube videos harshly criticizing the removal of Arnberg. The Howler Monkeys also started a member boycott of USPSA based upon misinformation that they spread about the removal of Arnberg and the erroneous and misleading legal opinions of Burt and Godbold, who were sent to the USPSA board and widely circulated on social media. Derek Lewis even created a USPSA live protest map to quantify the ongoing USPSA member and club protest in response to the unjust removal of Scott Arnberg. Just to clear this up, I don't think anybody, I saw any posts or nobody thinks Bama Jim is instigating any of this. Just to be clear, because Jim, you're going to watch this. I think you're a tool. Like, you're just a tool of these people. Like, I don't really care what you think about anything. I don't think anyone cares about that. And I don't think that you got Scott kicked off. I think you are a tool to give legal cover to bad people to let them kick Scott off. In my book, that makes you one of these bad people who also we need to get rid of. That's it. I don't think you instigated shit. You don't matter in that way. You're just their idiot. Anyway, let's go. I mean, I'm going to skip through a bunch of this, but let's get to the good stuff. About 3 days after Burt filed this complaint on January 26, 2024, Loeffler, the previous UPL complainant, so you might have seen a previous video with Austin Loeffler on. He did file a UPL complaint against Bama Jim as well. He's not a lawyer, so I don't think that's going to be taken as seriously. Anyway, Loeffler, the previous complainant, Bill Godbold, and Steger he refers to me in parentheses, Chief Howler Monkey. I appreciate it. That's very nice. Oh, and just to be clear, we don't call ourselves the Howler Monkeys. Since you haven't been around in USPSA that wrong, Jim, we didn't come up with this. The Howler Monkey term came from a leaked memo from Bruce One, where he again literally proposed a conspiracy to change the rules of the organization to make it so that Matt Hopkins, who was at the time running for president, should he win, would have no power to run the organization. And in that memo, Bruce One referred to us as the Howler Monkeys. He's like, hey, if any of the members have any problems with this, F them. And, the Howler Monkeys, F them. Like that. That's what he said. He gave us the name Howler Monkeys. And because we understand parody and satire and humor, we adopted the name. We're like, yeah, Howler Monkeys. That's kind of funny. We'll wear it. That sounds fun. That's what happened. You guys gave us the name. It wasn't our idea. Anyway. All right, they clearly knew okay, yes, John Burt, we knew he filed a complaint. I did not know at the time John Burt had filed a complaint, I think. I had heard from Pat Brown that 3 lawyers filed complaints. It wouldn't shock me, I think, at the time that if John Burt was one of them, but I heard 3 of them did. Anyway, on the YouTube podcast titled, They Crossed the Rubicon, Time to Go Full Force on the Board. That was a banger video. I was keyed up on that one. If you scroll back down the feed, it's about an hour just shitting on these people. It's great. Anyway, Steger, Loeffler, and Godbold provided their demented commentary on the January USPSA board meeting that was live streamed for members and ridiculed board members and managing director of USPSA. Yeah, because she seemed like she was drunk or had a brain tumor. And I ridiculed all of them in turn. It was really fun. It was a great video, great times. They make no effort to hide the fact that they were launching an attack on the board and me in the title of the video, Time to Go Full Force on the Board. After disparaging most of the board members, Steger and his howler monkeys commented on my attendance. Wait, hold on. We're not hiding. We're not hiding it. Like, why would, no, this is fun. We're having fun. Anyway, Steger says, all right, let's move on to lawyer Jim. Now, I heard there was a complaint filed on him before, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever, who cares? Okay, he says, it's like he's talking to me in this response. So he knows I'm going to read this, and he knows I'm going to read it on YouTube. He says, yes, Ben, let's be honest. The three of you on your podcast and Bert are the primary haters who have launched a full force, false and malicious attack on me and the board. This is what you don't understand. The board doesn't understand this, and Bama Jim doesn't understand this. This thing is beyond me. It's like way bigger. Like there's people that despise me, don't pay any attention to anything I'm saying, and they're protesting. We're not the primary haters. Like in my point of view, I sit back and I don't tell people to do any of this stuff. Like I think Derek goes too far. I don't really like that, but it's like whatever. Other people, like I don't tell them to do things. I sit back and they just do things. Like it's not a centrally run conspiracy. That's how you guys operate. This is a self-organizing collective. It's just like people can do what they want with it. Like for example, there's a Howler Monkey Discord I've been told about. Howler Monkey Discord. Like it's for the people who don't know, that's another communication tool, like people joining almost like a Facebook page in the old days. Like when people used Facebook, there would be like a Facebook group where people can talk. There's a Discord group called the Howler Monkey Discord, where this document, this UPL complaint response, the previous responses, all these key documents get shared, people discuss them, and all this stuff. All kinds of people in there. I've never even been in it. Like, again, there's a lot of people watching this stuff, Jim. It's not just us. So it's like, I don't think you really understand. Anyway, on February 5th, 3 days after this UPL board emailed me notice of this UPL complaint, Ben Steger posted it on Facebook and Instagram accounts with a movie popcorn sticker on it, implying that he was going to sit back and watch the show. No, okay. First, this is the show. This is what we're watching. We are watching the show. And the popcorn wasn't just for me. It was to imply everybody should watch the show. Because I think you're a fucking idiot, Jim. And a lot of you guys are stupid. And watching the implosion, the grand finale of the war against the FUDs running USPSA, like this is super entertaining. Like, I didn't know what you'd do, but I knew it'd be something dumb. And then here it is, something dumb. A 51-page response to all this. It is amazing. Yes, the show is awesome. I hope you're enjoying the show, Jim, because I know I am. Anyway, he did not post a previous complaint from Loeffler containing proven misrepresentations, I'm not sure what those were, or the letter from the UPL board dismissing the previous complaint without merit. The next day, on February 6, 2024, Steger published another YouTube video titled Bama Jim in Trouble Again. In that video, Steger actually admits that he knew Loeffler had filed the previous UPL complaint, and he speculates wildly about me being suspended without presenting one shred of evidence I have ever advised USPSA on Washington law, because none exists. Nothing that occurred during the January 2024 board meeting had anything to do whatsoever with Washington law. It's not wild speculation. Jim, it looks to me and a lot of other people like you are doing something wrong here. It looks like you're doing something wrong. And I think you're going to get into trouble. I don't think that's wild speculation. I think that's, I think that's just cause and effect, baby. Anyway, over the past year or so, Ben Steger alone has made more than 4,900 derogatory social media posts related to USPSA, the board, its employees, and supporters like myself. Steger recently bragged on one of his podcasts that he pounded 8 martinis one day during a lunch in Arizona and called one of the USPSA board members he was at lunch with hot dog to his face at least 5 times. I don't remember. I think the number was 3 martinis. But yeah, that lunch was awesome, dude. Like, can you imagine, like, just sitting across from this person who's a moron who tried to destroy your life? And like just the demeanor, like I'm laughing, I'm having a good time. He's clearly not having a good time with any of this stuff. And I'm just drinking martinis, just letting it rip, baby. having a grand old time, and old hot dog is not having a good time. Yeah, it was awesome, dude. It was awesome. It's like some of the most fun ever. And then he told me a bunch of, like, he's an idiot. He told me a bunch of stuff he shouldn't have told me because it was 3 hours. He cannot help himself. Anyway, the repulsive significance of the nickname hot dog is that the board member owns a dog kennel and several years ago suffered a terrible tragedy when the cooling system of the kennel failed and 28 dogs died from heat exposure. Well, let me just tell you something else. Like, the problem here is that there's cooling system singular. I know this one dude in Arizona. He has one dog and he lives in a trailer and he has a backup cooling system. Leighton, with a commercial facility, too stupid to do that and didn't check on the dogs, you know? Anyway, this is how vile and disgusting Ben Steger and his minions are, constantly calling this board member hot dog in emails, text messages, on social media, and in person. Yes, calling a guy hot dog, that is precisely how vile I am. Exactly that vile. Whatever you make of that. All right, let's move on. So that was the fun stuff I saw in there regarding me specifically. I'm going to pull up. So there's a couple of interesting things here to pull. First, from John Burt, this is an email I'll read. He's gone through the UPL response, and here's his take. Jim admits in his response that he is providing legal services, which frankly amazed me. Though with video of him doing so, I guess it would be hard to deny. His position is that he never discussed Washington law, really shows his misunderstanding or indifference, but maybe that's why they filed the specious DBA in Alabama. We'll get to that in a second. USPSA is essentially a resident of Washington State. Jim is a lawyer licensed in Alabama. So the question is whether he is engaging in the practice of law for a Washington entity. I found this pretty straightforward definition. What is the practice of law? While definitions vary by state, the American Bar Association generally defines this as the application of legal principles and judgment with regard to the circumstances or objectives of another entity or persons which require the knowledge and skill of a person trained in the law. In its most general sense, the practice of law includes representing clients in court or negotiations, consulting with potential clients, and giving legal advice, as well as preparing legal documentation. Jim's emails on Robert's rules, his presence at board meetings, even his cease and desist letters all constitute the practice of law and the application of legal principles. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I know how to read, and what John's writing, that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to put it up on Instagram. I forgot about it. I've got a clip of a guy talking about a cease and desist letter he got a year ago from Donna and I think Jim. Like, what do you mean? Sending out cease and desist letters on behalf of USPSA that's not the practice of law? I mean, it sounds kind of crazy, what Jim is saying. Now, let's get to, there's a part in the UPL complaint that Derek pointed out, Practical Shooting Insights. Jim confirms that the Washington office is permanently closed and the corporation has taken steps to register as a foreign entity and establish a domicile in Alabama. So what just came out this week is that there was a DBA or some kind of filing from Donna, the managing director of USPSA, that they're gonna establish something in Alabama. It's like, nobody on the board had heard about that. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Okay, he says, the letter that the USPSA managing director, Donna Webb, provided the UPL board, which is part of the previous file, explains that I was engaged to handle issues related to the Alabama matches, a project Ms. Webb has been working on in Alabama, which is, for example, registering and establishing a domicile there, and basic non-state specific legal questions as needed, which is still the case. Although my role as outside counsel to USPSA has evolved over the past year, I still field general non-state specific legal questions, help with procedural questions during board meetings, and coordinate with other outside counsel when litigation or a specific matter comes up. I heard he's handling the lawsuit against Joe. I heard that Bama Jim is just representing them. We've got a take from Pat Brown here. At the February 26th meeting, the board should immediately suspend the services of the managing director and general counsel and set in motion the engagement of an independent law firm to conduct an investigation into the conduct of the board of directors, management team, legal advisors since 2021, If you're looking for former U.S. Assistant AG that does this work, just reach out. Yeah, no, he's right. They should do that. I also heard that USPSA could recover all of their fees from Bama Jim. That would be hilarious if they did that, because I'm pretty sure he's a poor or something. That's the word, is that he doesn't do too well. And based on looking at his website, I don't think he makes a lot of money practicing law. He must get his money elsewhere. Okay, one thing that's interesting included in Bama Jim's response to the UPL complaint is a letter from Leighton. Leighton to the UPL board. Here's what Leighton had, part of what he has to say. In 2022, as a result of hostile attacks from members on the board of directors, I suggested we retain counsel to assist us with understanding legal decisions pertaining to our management of the organization. Jim Johnson was appointed and has since served as legal counsel. The board of USPSA has never asked Mr. Johnson to offer a legal opinion that relates to Washington or Delaware state law, and Mr. Johnson never offered one. We already have outside counsel in Washington and Delaware and other states when an issue arises outside of Mr. Johnson's area of practice. He has been instrumental in locating other attorneys to consult with on USPSA's behalf. There's been an organized campaign by various hostile groups to intimidate, harass, and pressure elected directors and USPSA employees to resign. Agendas range from some that want to see the organization burned to the ground, while others are running for election, making frivolous complaints as part of their political strategy. In my opinion, these complaints that have been filed against Mr. Johnson are part of this campaign. So let me just read one sentence in there. Read one sentence. I suggested we retain counsel to assist us with understanding legal decisions pertaining to our management of the organization. Jim Johnson was appointed and has since served as legal counsel. So it says in Leighton's letter that Jim Johnson's their legal counsel. I'm not sure how helpful that's going to be. Okay, so there's a lot more stuff happening. I'll put if you hop on Instagram this morning, I'll have a clip there of somebody from Joel's club talking about how he got a cease and desist from Donna, and he thinks Jim. It's good. What's going to happen now? I don't know. I think there's going to be fireworks on the in the meeting on Monday. I can tell you that. I think it's going to be awesome, and I think we are rapidly headed towards a conclusion of the war. I think I declared war on the board in 2021, about the summer. If we get this done under 4 years, that was my over-under was 4 years on finishing this thing out. So I think we're right on schedule.